Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. The Champions League is back, and what better way to start it than Juventus against Spurs, arguably the most balanced side in England against the reigning Italian champions. Buffon against Lloris, Christian Eriksen against Miralem Pjanic, Gonzalo Higuain against Harry Kane, and there's so much more star-studded talent in these starting lineups, so you know it was going to be good. Who would win? How would they win? Who would be the key man? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, I'm going to break down Spurs against Juventus. So Juve Spurs, big game in the round of 16 of the Champions League. Three main talking points are really easy to point out because of how the game started. But first, let's get to the board. We got Juve in the red. We got Spurs in the blue. Juve in a 4-2-3-1 practically with Higuain up front, Douglas Costa just behind him, Mandzukic and Bernardeschi on the flanks. And then they had Pjanic and Khedira in midfield, whereas Spurs went 4-2-3-1 as well. No real change except Lamela came in for Son. They had Ali up front. They had Eriksen on the right. They had Harry Kane up front. Obviously, they had Dyer and Dembele in midfield. What went wrong? What were the main talking points? So first main talking point is obviously Juve's fast start, up 2-0 within the first 10 minutes. Higuain, a training ground free kick from Pjanic, unmarked into the box. Superb finish past Lloris. Then the penalty shot where Ben Davies makes a mistake, and it was a penalty. 2-0 in the first opening 10 minutes. You expect Juve to go on. You expect them to dominate. You expect them to, at the bare minimum, see it out like they've done year after year in previous competitions and domestically. That didn't happen. Why didn't that happen? Well, you look at the chances that Juve created throughout the first half. Wasn't really anything there. They had the penalty shout where Aurier made a huge, weird mistake, and then Higuain hit the crossbar. Then the 1-2 counterattack between Pjanic and Higuain, which led Higuain to the box, and he fired a shot wide. Probably should have scored. But besides that, Juve didn't really have anything going for them. They never really were able to really contain possession and dominate the game. They struggled against Spurs' press, but even in the second half, when they sat it off a bit deeper, they only had one real opportunity where Bernardeschi broke on the counter and forced Lloris into a save. So when you look at it, there's not really much there. And what happened to Juve? Why didn't they build on this? Why didn't they go forward and take ascendancy to the game? Well, they kind of dropped off. When you look at it right here, they were that deep, more of a 4-5-1 with Costa kind of floating around, but Costa didn't really have a specific role. It was a bit weird. Sometimes he'd press Dyer, Dembele was left marked, and he wasn't really offering much. And then sometimes he'd drop into the midfield, but his position there wasn't really necessary. And it was weird that perhaps maybe they should have put Mandzukic there, who is a willing workhorse, who can press and get into your face, to possibly get into the faces of Dyer and Dembele, because Costa wasn't really getting it done. We still don't really know what Bernardeschi offers to this Juve side. Hasn't been that great this season. And then Mandzukic was obviously trying to track back, and then the midfield of Khedira and Pjanic were there. But the one big issue with Juve was that they weren't pressing without the ball. So that gave Dembele time on the ball throughout the game. Dyer kind of dropped a bit deeper so that they could push the fullbacks forward. That was very key. They were good in that respect because they never really got too many dangerous crosses from out wide to really bother the Juventus defense. On a few occasions they did, but Aurier and Davies weren't as threatening as they possibly could have been, and as we've seen them in the past. And then when you look at it from that aspect, Ali was here floating in. Then you had Dembele with so much time on the ball. Dembele was probably one of the key players, and we'll get to that in a second, but Juve just couldn't get anything forward. When they tried to break on the counter, they were swarmed by Spurs' press, and then when they even didn't get swarmed by Spurs press, they were just sloppy with possession, couldn't really get that final pass, that outlet pass to really set the counterattack going forward, and they really struggled there. Higuain was on an island, as you saw in the second half, when Dyer was much more deeper and it was more of a 3 against 1. He was running by himself, no real support behind him, and that was very pivotal. And Juve never really got things going in that respect. And the fact that they did not press in midfield and didn't really look to win the ball and were looking to clog the spaces, which they didn't do well, Spurs were able to take control of the game, which leads us to the second point, and that was Spurs were dominant, specifically after going down 2-0 away from home. That's very key. That shows the maturity that they've gained throughout the season and under Pochettino. And when you look at it from that respect, Dembele was superb. Yes, a lot of his passes were sideways, but he kind of just was able to dribble forward, beat challenges, and he was very key to what they were trying to do in the first half, where they were really looking to drag center backs out of positions to kind of get Kane 1v1 against either Chiellini or Benatia. We saw it on a counter-attack where they had Ali break free of Chiellini down this flank, and he tried to slide a ball into Kane, but Benatia made a last-ditch tackle. There were two occasions where Dembele was able to pick up the ball from these positions to get the ball across. We saw Ali at one point run across Benatia, but then he was tackled by De Sciglio, which led to that counterattack by Pjanic and Higuain. And there was another chance where he did that again for Kane, ran across Benatia, forced Buffon into a save. That was a key element of what they were trying to do. The other key element was that we saw Eriksen slowly get involved, slowly drop a bit deeper, slowly find these pockets of spaces. And he did that because while there were a lot of bodies in central areas, there weren't a lot of bodies around these areas. And that's where he really picked up the game, and there was no one that could really track him. We saw the one chance where, again, Dembele from this zone plays a pass into Eriksen, unmarked, turns, clips a ball into Ali. Ali doesn't get it going. And then when you look at the Spurs goal, you have to say that it's kind of a bit of a meltdown, and it showed what Juve did wrong in the sense that they tried to break forward, didn't work. Dyer stepped in. Dyer plays pass to Eriksen, who shrugs off Chiellini. Ali picks up the ball, slides in Kane, and the Juve backline is all at a source. He breaks the line, rounds Buffon, scores. That's very key. And then when you think about the other Eriksen chance, and I think it was actually that chance where he got it from Dembele and clipped it into Kane, and Kane should score, but Buffon made a big save. But Eriksen and Dembele were pulling the strings. They were the guys that were creating the chances for Spurs. In the second half, nothing really changed in the respect of what Juve were trying to do. There was obviously more pressing from Douglas Costa. There was more pressing from Khedira trying to get into the faces of Dembele and Dyer, but they didn't have a counter-attacking threat, and Spurs kind of changed things up where they had Lamela kind of cutting in from the left and not really offer anything. They changed the entire attacking three behind Kane. So Ali went to the left, Eriksen moved central, Lamela moved to the right, and there was just more flow to what they were trying to do. Ali was able to pick up the ball in the spaces that Eriksen was picking up the ball, and then Lamela kind of stayed a bit more narrow too, and that created more space for Eriksen to get onto the ball and to control the game and to create chances. And they did get better as the game wore on, and Juve struggled to really put themselves in positions to really change the game. They brought on Bentancur at one point, trying to clog that midfield. And but what really happened was that when you look at even the build up to the goal, for the free kick for Eriksen's goal, you see the three Spurs players in those central areas. It's Eriksen who picks up the ball from deep, who plays it to Lamela, who finds Ali, and then Ali's clipped there right by Chiellini. And it's just showing that there was no press from Juve, so they were able to just drift in and out of these positions. And then they had their wing backs high, or their full backs high. They had basically Dyer playing sort of like a back three, and Dyer wasn't getting pressed in that respect as well. And it was very comfortable for Spurs to get back into the game. They, again, another great second half from them. When we look at this tough run that they've been in this season, they played against United, started that game very well. They went down to Liverpool, and in the United game, they got even better as the game wore on and should have won by more. If Harry Kane had his shooting boots on. They went to Liverpool, struggled in the first half, got better in the second half, arguably should have won that game. Went to Arsenal, played good in the first half, was a bit cagey, dominated in the second half, should have destroyed them from that respect. Now they come here, go down early in the game. 2 goals in 10 minutes at Juventus Stadium. Juventus haven't conceded a goal in 2018. They only conceded 1 goal in the last 15 plus games, and they come here, they get 2 goals, they dominate them for more than 80 minutes, and it just goes to show that how far Spurs have evolved, and now they put themselves in a pole position to really go on and win this time. For Allegri, you have to think that the team selection was wrong. I know they have a lot of injuries, but when you look at it, they were trying to play a counter-attacking game with players that aren't suited for the counter-attack. They'll be hoping that Matuidi comes back. They'll be hoping that Dybala is fit. They'll be hoping that Cuadrado is fit, and hopefully they could turn this tie around, because now they need to get a result at Wembley and at the same time try not to concede. But we're in for a great second leg. Spurs really came out to play. They dominated the game, and for Juve, not the right not the right personnel for the specific tactics that Allegri wanted to set up. But let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.